Robin Roberts has spent over 3 decades building trust with American audiences. From her groundbreaking work on ESPN to her iconic presence on Good Morning America, she's become the person celebrities turn to when they want a fair, compassionate interview. So when Prince Harry's team specifically requested Robin for an intimate home interview, no studio, no audience, just 2 people having an honest conversation, she agreed, believing this would be a chance for genuine dialogue. What she got instead was something she'd never encountered in her entire career. A subject so defensive, so condescending, so determined to control every aspect of the conversation that she would do something unprecedented. Within 20 minutes, Robin Roberts would stop an interview mid-conversation, not because of technical issues, not because of time constraints, but because the subject's behavior had become so problematic that continuing felt impossible. The cameras would capture everything. The footage would air anyway, and America would watch one of its most beloved journalists finally reach her limit. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you hit subscribe and smash that like button. Now let's get into what really happened in that Montecito living room. The setting was deliberately intimate. A well-appointed living room in a Montecito estate. Soft, natural lighting streaming through large windows. 2 comfortable chairs positioned across from each other. This was meant to feel like a conversation between friends, not a formal interview. Prince Harry entered the room with an expression that immediately put Robin on alert. His smile was tight, his posture rigid, his entire bearing suggesting someone bracing for battle rather than settling in for conversation. Robin, thanks for doing this. Thank you for having us here, Harry. Beautiful home. It serves its purpose. He settled into his chair with a formality that seemed out of place in the casual setting. The cameras began rolling. Robin leaned forward slightly, her posture open and welcoming. So, Harry, let's start simply. How are you? Really? Harry tilted his head, his expression shifting to something almost condescending. I'm thriving. Though I find it interesting that everyone asks me that with such skepticism, as if they expect a different answer. No skepticism here, just genuine interest. You've been through a lot publicly. I wanted to give you space to share how you're actually doing. I'm doing wonderfully. Better than I've ever been, actually. America has given us freedom we never had in the UK. Robin nodded. That's good to hear. And what does that freedom look like day to day? It looks like waking up without institutional pressure, making our own choices, raising our children without the constant scrutiny of palace protocols. Though the scrutiny hasn't entirely disappeared, has it? The media coverage continues. Harry's jaw tightened. The media will always be the media, but at least here, I'm not trapped inside an institution that feeds me to them. Feeds you to them. That's strong language. Can you elaborate? I'd rather not rehash old grievances, Robin. I'm here to talk about moving forward. Robin smiled gently. Of course. Let's talk about what you're building now. Your foundation work, your projects. What's exciting you these days? Harry's posture relaxed marginally. We're doing important work through Archwell. Mental health advocacy, veterans support, environmental initiatives. Real, substantive work that makes a difference. Can you give me an example? Something specific you're proud of? Harry paused, his expression flickering with something. Irritation, perhaps. Why does everyone always want specifics? The work speaks for itself. Robin's smile remained, but her eyes sharpened slightly. I'm just giving you the opportunity to share. Our viewers would love to hear concrete examples of the impact. The impact is ongoing. It's not something you can reduce to sound bites for morning television. The slight condescension in his tone didn't go unnoticed. Robin pressed forward gracefully. I understand. Complex work is hard to summarize, but surely there's one story, one moment, that captures what the foundation is about? Harry sighed audibly. I've shared extensively in other forums. Perhaps your viewers could do their research rather than expecting me to repeat myself. Robin blinked. In 30 years of interviews, she'd rarely been told her audience needed to do their research. I'm just trying to give you a platform to share your story, Harry. That's what this interview is for. Then perhaps ask questions I haven't answered 100 times before. The atmosphere in the room had shifted. Robin's warmth remained, but there was now a careful precision to her approach. Let's talk about something current then. You mentioned wanting to be known for your work, but the headlines lately haven't been about the foundation. They've been about personal matters, the Netflix situation, the tabloid speculation. How do you navigate that? Harry crossed his arms. I navigate it by ignoring it. Headlines are noise. My work is signal. But the noise affects perception, doesn't it? Some of the Netflix projects have been cancelled. How do you respond to that? Harry's expression hardened. Projects evolve. That's the entertainment industry. I'm not going to explain business decisions that have been sensationalized by media looking for negativity. I'm not looking for negativity. I'm asking a straightforward question about something that's been publicly reported. And I'm giving you a straightforward answer. Projects evolve. Move on. Robin paused, her expression thoughtful. Harry, I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. You came here wanting to talk about your work. But when I ask about your work, the projects, the foundation, you've told me to move on, or that viewers should do their own research. What would you like to discuss? I'd like to discuss my perspective without being interrogated. This isn't an interrogation. It's an interview. Questions are how interviews work. Questions that don't feel like accusations would be preferable. Robin's composure remained perfect, but something shifted in her energy. Harry, I've asked you how you're doing, what you're working on, and how you're handling recent headlines. Those are the most basic, supportive questions possible. I'm genuinely trying to understand how you've experienced them as accusations. What framing? I've framed nothing. I've asked open-ended questions and given you complete freedom to answer however you'd like. You've chosen to be defensive. That's not my framing. That's your response. Harry stared at her, seemingly caught off guard by the gentle but direct pushback. Robin took a breath, her professionalism reasserting itself. Let's try a different approach. Tell me about something that's brought you joy lately. A moment with your children, a project milestone, anything. Harry's expression softened slightly at the mention of his children. The kids are wonderful. They're the reason for everything we do. That's lovely. Fatherhood looks good on you. Thank you. And how's Megan? How's she handling everything? The walls went back up instantly. Harry's entire demeanor shifted, closing off, becoming guarded. I'd prefer not to discuss my wife. Robin's eyebrows rose gently. You'd prefer not to discuss her at all? She's not the subject of this interview. But she's your partner in everything you've built. The foundation, the media company, your life in California. How can we discuss your current chapter without discussing her? By focusing on me. That's what I'm here for. But help me understand. You've discussed Megan extensively in other interviews. The Netflix documentary was largely about your relationship. Why is she off limits now? Because I've learned that anything I say gets twisted. Better to say nothing. By who? I'm sitting right here. I'm not going to twist anything. I'm going to air exactly what you say. That's what makes it dangerous. Robin tilted her head. Your own words are dangerous? That's an interesting perspective. The context gets lost. The nuance disappears. I say one thing and it becomes something else entirely. Then help me understand the context. I'm genuinely here to understand, Harry. But you have to meet me halfway. Harry's jaw flexed. There are rumors I'd like to address, since you're pushing the subject. I'm not pushing anything. But go ahead. The divorce rumors. The separation speculation. It's all completely false. We're stronger than ever. Our marriage is solid. Robin nodded slowly. I appreciate you addressing that directly. I noticed, though, that I didn't ask about divorce. I asked how Megan was doing. Why did your mind go to divorce? Harry stiffened. Because that's what the tabloids are obsessing over. I'm not a tabloid. I asked a simple question about your wife. You escalated to divorce denials that I didn't prompt. I'm just curious why. Because I know what people are really asking when they ask about Megan. What are they really asking? They're asking if the rumors are true. They're fishing for confirmation. I was asking how she's doing. That's it. No subtext. But you've now confirmed that divorce is on your mind enough that it's your first association when her name comes up. That's interesting. Harry's face reddened. You're twisting my words. I'm repeating your words. There's a difference. The tension in the room was palpable now. Robin remained composed, but there was a new firmness in her approach. Harry, let me be direct with you. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've interviewed presidents, survivors, people in the most difficult circumstances imaginable. Almost all of them, even in their hardest moments, managed to engage with questions without treating me as an adversary. Since we started, you've told me my audience should do their research, suggested my questions are accusations, and accused me of twisting words I repeated verbatim. Help me understand what's happening here. Harry crossed his arms. What's happening is exactly what I expected. Another media figure pretending to be sympathetic while actually pursuing an agenda. What agenda? I have no agenda. I'm trying to have a conversation about your life and your work. That's literally what you came here for. I came here to share my perspective, not to be cross-examined. This isn't a cross-examination. It's the softest possible interview format. We're sitting in your home. There's no studio audience, no time pressure, just two people talking. If this feels like cross-examination, I'm genuinely concerned about what a real, challenging interview would feel like for you. Harry stood up slightly, then sat back down. A false start that betrayed his agitation. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. Help me understand. I'm asking you to help me understand. But every time I ask a question, you treat it as an attack. I can't understand you if you won't let me in. Letting people in is how I've been hurt before. Robin's expression softened with genuine empathy. I know you've been hurt. I know the media has been brutal to you and your family. That's real, and I acknowledge it. But I'm not the British tabloids. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to give you a platform to share your story. But you have to actually share it. I've shared extensively. You've shared carefully curated versions in formats you control. Netflix documentaries you produced? Books you wrote? This is different. This is live conversation where you don't control the final edit. I understand why that's scary, but it's also the only way to have authentic dialogue. Harry's posture remained defensive, but something in his expression shifted. Maybe recognition, maybe just more sophisticated guardedness. I want to be known for my work, Robin, not for the tabloid drama, not for the family conflict, for the actual work I'm doing. Then tell me about the work, without defensiveness, without telling me to move on. Just tell me. Harry paused. For a moment it seemed like he might actually open up. We're focused on mental health awareness, helping veterans transition to civilian life, supporting sustainable practices in corporate settings. That sounds meaningful. What drew you to those specific causes? My own experience. Struggling silently for years. Watching fellow soldiers come home and have nowhere to turn. Seeing the environmental damage we're leaving for our children. That's powerful. Personal connection to the work makes it resonate. Can you share a moment when you saw your work actually help someone? Harry hesitated. There was a veteran, I can't share details for privacy reasons, who told me that our foundation helped him find resources when he was at his lowest point. That's exactly the kind of story that helps people understand your mission. Why was it so hard to share that? Because every time I share something personal, it gets picked apart, analyzed for authenticity, questioned. Who questions it? Everyone. The media, critics, people who've decided I'm the villain regardless of what I do. I'm not questioning it. I'm appreciating it. I'm seeing the person underneath the defensiveness. Why can't you let that person show more often? Harry stared at Robin, his expression unreadable. Because vulnerability has cost me everything. My family, my country, my privacy. Every time I've opened up, it's been used against me. Robin leaned forward slightly. Harry, I hear that. I understand that. But there's a difference between healthy caution and walls so high that no one can reach you. I've been trying to reach you for 15 minutes. All I've gotten is defensiveness and accusations. That's not protection. That's isolation. Harry's voice dropped to something cold. You don't get to psychoanalyze me. I'm not psychoanalyzing. I'm observing. There's a difference. You're doing what everyone does. pretending to care while actually collecting ammunition. Robin sat back, her expression shifting to something that wasn't quite hurt, but was certainly disappointed. Harry, I've shared my cancer journey publicly. I've been vulnerable in front of millions of people. I know what it costs to open up, and I've not once used someone's vulnerability against them. That's not who I am. I don't know who you are. I only know what the media has shown me of you. And what has the media shown you? That you're good at making people comfortable until you're not. Robin paused. In 3 decades of interviews, she couldn't remember a guest being this openly hostile without any provocation. Harry, I need you to hear what you just said. You accused me of something, of manipulating people, with absolutely no evidence. Because someone else might have done that to you, you've decided I will too. That's not fair. That's not accurate. And frankly, it's not the kind of conversation I'm willing to continue. Harry blinked. What do you mean? I mean that I came here in good faith. I've asked you about your life, your work, your family, all with genuine interest. You've treated every question as an attack. You've accused me of having agendas I don't have. You've been condescending to my audience, dismissive of my questions, and now you're suggesting I'm manipulative. At some point, continuing this conversation becomes pointless. Harry's expression flickered with something. Surprise, maybe, or the realization that he'd miscalculated. I didn't mean to imply. You didn't imply. You stated. You said I make people comfortable until I'm not. That's an accusation, and it's one I don't accept. Robin glanced at her producer, a silent communication passing between them. Harry, I'm going to do something I've never done in my career. I'm going to pause this interview. Harry's face went pale. What do you mean, pause? I mean that this isn't working. You came here wanting a platform to share your story. I've offered that platform repeatedly, and instead of accepting it, you've treated me as an enemy. I can't conduct an interview with someone who won't engage. It's not fair to you, not fair to me, and not fair to our viewers. You can't just stop. I can. This is my interview. I decide when it works and when it doesn't. And this doesn't work. Harry sat frozen, seeming unable to process what was happening. In all his media appearances, he'd never been stopped before. He'd walked out of things, sure. But being stopped, being told that his behavior had made continuing impossible, was new. Robin, I think we got off on the wrong foot. We didn't get off on any foot. I started with warmth. You started with walls. I've tried repeatedly to find a way in. You've blocked every attempt. That's not a wrong foot. That's a fundamental incompatibility. If you could just give me another chance. I've given you 20 minutes of chances. Every question has been met with defensiveness. Every attempt at connection has been rejected. At some point, I have to recognize that the conversation isn't possible. This is that point. She looked directly at him, her expression mixing disappointment with something that might have been compassion. Harry, I think you're struggling. I think you've been through real things that have left real wounds, but I also think you've built walls so high that no one can reach you anymore. Not interviewers, maybe not friends, maybe not even people who genuinely care about you. I'm not your enemy. I was never your enemy. But you've treated me as one from the moment you sat down. Harry's jaw clenched. I don't treat everyone as an enemy. You've treated me as one, and I've done nothing to earn it. I've been warm, I've been curious, I've been patient, and I've been dismissed, condescended to, and accused of manipulation. That's not a conversation. That's a battle I never agreed to fight. Robin stood up slowly. Not dramatically, not angrily, but with the deliberate professionalism of someone who'd made a difficult decision. I want to thank you for inviting us into your home. I wish this had gone differently. I genuinely wanted to understand your perspective and share it with our audience. But I can't share what you won't give. Harry remained seated, seeming unable to move. You're really ending this? I'm ending something that wasn't working. You can call it whatever you want. This will look bad for you. No, Harry, it will look like what it was, a journalist trying to have a conversation with someone who wouldn't let her. The footage will show exactly what happened. I asked questions. You got defensive. I tried to redirect. You accused me of manipulation. That's the record. Harry stood up now, his composure cracking. You can't air this. We're going to air exactly what happened. That's what journalism is. You came here wanting to tell your story. This is the story you told. Not with your words, but with your behavior. That's not fair. It's completely fair. Every question I asked was gentle. Every opportunity I gave was genuine. You chose confrontation. That's on you, not me. Harry's face contorted with barely suppressed rage. You'll regret this. Robin's expression didn't change. I've never regretted doing my job honestly. I won't start now. She extended her hand. A professional conclusion, nothing more. Good luck, Harry. I hope you find whatever you're looking for. Harry stared at her hand but didn't take it. After a long moment, he turned and walked out of the room, disappearing into another part of the house. Robin watched him go, then turned to face the camera. I'm sorry we couldn't complete this interview. I've been doing this work for over 30 years, and I believe in giving every subject a fair platform. But a platform requires participation. What you've seen today is what happens when someone comes to an interview with walls already built. I couldn't get over them. I couldn't get around them. And eventually I had to acknowledge that continuing wasn't possible. She paused, her professionalism mixing with visible disappointment. I wish Prince Harry well. I hope he finds the peace he seems to be searching for. But peace isn't something you find by treating everyone as your enemy. I wasn't his enemy. I tried to be his ally. He couldn't see it. The interview lasted 22 minutes before Robin ended it. Its impact would last considerably longer. For Robin Roberts, it was an unfortunate first. The only interview she'd ever had to stop because a subject made continuing impossible. She handled it with the grace that had defined her career. But there was a sadness in her afterward. The disappointment of someone who genuinely wanted to connect and been rebuffed. For Prince Harry, it was something else. Proof that his defensiveness was becoming his defining characteristic. Evidence that even the warmest, most sympathetic interviewers couldn't reach him through the walls he'd built. The footage showed exactly what had happened. A journalist extending every possible olive branch, and a prince treating each one as a weapon. Some bridges can be crossed. Others are burned before you even arrive. And some people carry so much fire with them that they burn every bridge they encounter. Even the ones leading somewhere they claimed they wanted to go. What do you think? Was Robin right to end the interview? Or should she have pushed through? Who would you want to see Robin interview next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video to help it reach more people. Subscribe to our channel for more explosive celebrity moments.